The Sherrone Moore saga continues.
Oh, I thought we knew who it was like a while ago.
Let me ask you this one.
I don't know. I was actually wondering that myself.
Helped secure USC's #1 group.
It kind of seems like Harbaugh let a lot of things slide. Is that my
That's
lead-in?
my question to you, yeah.
This is a big loss.
Some guy named TJ Ronin
Think about it. Indiana just won the national championship.
is not something Michigan fans should be talking about. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the water cooler. This is the team rivalry. Mac, where are you, Mac? I see an empty office. I don't see you. I thought you were on.
Can you hear me?
Oh, okay, I can hear you, but I cannot see you.
Okay, all right. Hold on a second. I'm coming.
Okay. All right, be careful.
I'm down in a very deep, dark chasm.
Uh-oh. Can you find your way out? Can you see the light?
I can't.
Uh-oh.
It's very deep, very dark, and very chasmy.
Okay.
It kind of feels a lot like Ohio State's football program.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, hang on a second. I'm coming. All right.
Okay.
Here we go.
Careful.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right.
Wow.
Okay, we're good. All right.
That was crazy.
That was wild, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Hey, I found something though. This
What?
is crazy.
Uh-huh.
It's amazing. All right.
All right.
It is the trophy bestowed upon the teams of old that sucked, that came up short, that did not meet the standard.
The brass
Ohio.
spittoon?
No.
Oh,
No.
no. Okay.
And as having found this trophy of olden times of teams past sucketh, I would like to bestow upon Ohio State, as you know, seeing as though they're a current team that didn't meet their own standard and stuff like that, this trophy, because I feel like it's only right that they have it. Okay.
All right. Let's see it. What is it? A trash can.
It opens from the bottom. Isn't that cool? Yeah.
That is cool. Yeah.
That's very neat. Yeah.
That's,
So it's a functional trophy,
Yeah.
you know.
And you found
It
Ohio
opens.
State season in there?
I found Ohio State season in here,
All
right
right.
there. There
Yeah.
it is. Yep. Here, hang on. I can pull it out for you.
Wow. Yeah.
So
And you know what's even funnier about that is that they are still giving Ryan Day a hard time for not winning the national championship again.
they are. Yeah. Isn't
don't
that
understand that.
funny?
Yeah,
It doesn't make any sense.
it doesn't at all.
Ew. Oh, I've got Ohio State season all over my feet. Hang on a second.
Oh, gross. At any rate, this is the Team Rivalry Podcast. Welcome. And we call it the water cooler, although we could be out by the pool too. It's the same concept. You know, you're hanging out by the pool, you're hanging out by the water cooler. Water pooler. It makes sense. We like to talk about football. And if you're looking for a show where they know how to analyze plays, call the X's and O's, predict the matches, just hang out with us for 45 minutes anyway, and then you can go watch a show that actually does that. For right now, we like to talk about football. We like to make fun of coaches who make millions of dollars and can't win a game. We also like to make fun of players now because they get paid, so they deserve ridicule. Well,
They
not
do.
ridicule. We don't ridicule the players. They're working hard. They're working a lot harder than the coaches, and are getting paid less. But still, they are getting paid, so we make fun of them. At any
Are
rate,
they though? I don't know that they. I mean, there are some
most of the time-
circumstances where I don't know. I just
Yeah.
don't know.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Team Rivalry Podcast, and tonight we've got a few things to talk about. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And by the way, we are up like 200 some odd subscribers from last week.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, you did a fantastic job carrying the show last week. I'm sorry I wasn't here.
I thought it sucked, but thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, I thought it sucked is, par for the course for the show. You did
That's
that
true.
well.
Oh.
It's when the bar is low, it's easy to
Yeah.
step over it.
But hey, at least I met the bar at which our standard is.
Exactly.
Unlike Ohio State. So in a way, I am less trash than Ohio State because I have set
Yes,
my expectations at such a trash level that even I, in my trashness, am less trash or possibly even more trash than Ohio State. But Ohio State is still trash.
definitely. There's a lot of logic to that. That's a
Yeah,
motivational speaker pitch
it
right
is.
there. And
Oh,
I think
yeah,
you should go with that.
I will.
Before we get into the football, though, unfortunately, we have to start this show on a solemn note this week because we lost a legend this past week, or within the last couple of weeks. Lou Holtz passed away, and you know what? I'm realizing now I made this graphic to memorialize Lou Holtz, and I forgot to put his name on it. At any rate, that is Lou Holtz. Sorry, Lou. You're a great coach. You were a great coach. I 89 years old, fantastic guy. I mean, every time I saw him, I liked him. I guess I don't know what he was like
Mhm.
behind the scenes or anything, but I saw his posts on X and I thought they were great. And he seemed like a great guy. His coaching history, I did not realize it's as varied as it is or was.
Yeah, yeah.
Started out at William and Mary back in 1969. So he was a head coach before I was born. And I think that's
Wow.
pretty cool. So at William and
Yeah.
Mary, and then he goes to NC State, did a short stint in the NFL, as a lot of our college coaches do, at the New York Jets, and sadly did not do very well there. He went 3-10.
A lot
Uh,
of legendary college football coaches have that issue where they go to the
yeah,
NFL and suck. Urban Meyer, well, I hate that
yeah.
Urban Meyer's the first person I thought of. Nick Saban.
Well, it's gonna
Yeah.
happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was at Arkansas, he was at Minnesota and South Carolina, but primarily we know him as the Notre Dame coach, and he was really only there for 10 years, which is kind of surprising. But in 10 years, he became legendary to the point where they actually put up a statue for him. They did build the statue, and it is there at Notre Dame. They dedicated it on September 13th, 2008. Um,
Wow.
his overall record is 249 to 132 to 7 ties. I believe that gives him like a 65% win percentage. He's 12-8-2 in bowl games, which, by the way, means he has a better bowl percentage than our beloved Bo Schembechler.
No.
uh, but anyway, that's what I wanted to say about Lou Holtz. I don't know if you wanted to add anything.
Yeah, you told me I couldn't make the Ryan Day joke, so I'm definitely not going to. Yeah, it sucks. It just feels like the this generation of college football heroes, if you will. I mean, they're getting old and we're losing some of them, and that's terrible. So I believe the 65% winning percentage does get him into the coaching Hall of Fame, though, or the College Football Hall of Fame, which he definitely
Okay.
should be if he's not already in it.
Yeah.
If he is already in it, then feel free to roast me in the comment section. That's kind of the point of the show. So there you go. But if he's not, then he definitely should be. And
Exactly.
that's my eulogy.
So we sign off. Godspeed,
Yeah.
Lou Holtz. We're gonna miss you.
Credit to the game. Really sad to see him go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to our regular programming, where we get to make fun of Sherrone Moore.
Yay!
Yay! The Sherrone Moore saga continues. And this time it worked kind of in his favor. We have two big developments. And in a shocking revelation that surprised absolutely no one, the woman who is the woman who got harassed by Sherrone Moore got fired, and has had to deal with all of this, finally revealed herself, and it is, of course, a Paige Shriver, which we all knew.
Yeah.
But as it turns out, she had not officially revealed herself until a couple of days ago, or yesterday, I believe it was.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we knew who it was like a while ago.
Well, yeah, I think everybody knew, but it wasn't like officially recorded until now.
Oh, so she didn't
So-
come out on her Instagram page and be like, "Yeah, it was me."
Right. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
This was
'Cause
through
we
the
need-
lawyers. Because Sherrone Moore was in court. And so the other big development is that Sherrone Moore has taken a plea deal. The felony charge of home invasion has been dropped.
Hmm.
That's the one where he was charged with both breaking and entering without breaking, which is entering.
Which is entering. Yeah.
So that charge was dropped. The home invasion charge was dropped. The I don't know exactly. They didn't really say exactly what he's being charged with, but the two things he's being charged with are misdemeanors. So he may not actually have to do any jail time. The sentencing is April 14th, 4 days before the spring game. So it's kind of a pregame spring game thing that's going to happen there at sentencing. Sorry, is that too far?
Pregame, is it pregame tailgate, but like jail? So pregame jailgate.
Jail. Yeah.
Right? That's a thing.
Yeah. But Mac, I really want to ask about what you think as far as what
Do you though? Do you really want to know
I
what
do.
I think?
I want to know. I want to know where you would go with this. What do you think Michigan has to do to move forward from this and essentially prove that this kind of thing will never happen again?
Never let it happen again. I mean,
yeah.
yeah, never let it happen again. Man, okay. So this is kind of a bummer because like you never want to believe like something crappy about someone who obviously you respect, and we all wanted him to do well at Michigan. I know when he got hired, I put out that video saying like, heck yeah, let's go, this is Harbaugh 2.0, this is great.
After we beat Ohio State, I was super excited to see him be the coach. So
I know literally that best 8-5 season of all time. Not even mad we lost 5 games because of what it ended up doing to Ohio State. It was hilarious, and that just fills me with such joy. But no, I mean, I wanted him to do well. I thought he seemed like a nice enough guy and stuff like that. And this whole situation sucks. But I was listening to Steve Dace, and he made, unfortunately, kind of a good point. Not because I don't like Steve Dace. I do like Steve Dace. But the point that he made is kind of sad, is that Michigan really, at this point, kind of needs to turn the page on the Harbaugh era in totality, and just kind of flush the entire Harbaugh era down the toilet. Not because Harbaugh did anything wrong, not because Michigan actually cheated, but because it kind of seems like Harbaugh let a lot of things slide because he was so focused on winning the national championship.
Mhm.
So, I mean, as soon as that 2021 season starts happening, you start hearing, well, maybe it was 2021 or 2022. Anyway, a number of coaches, assistants, yada, yada, start having issues with the law. You got DUIs happening. You've got, Matt Weiss with the FBI. You've got Alex, whatever his name was.
Alex Ude.
Ude doing horrible things and all that.
Mhm.
And he referenced something going on with a current investigation with a coach who's currently in the NFL. I don't know who it is. I can't verify any of that, but if it's true, then just add it to the stack of coaches under Harbaugh that,
Mhm.
Did Harbaugh know all of that stuff was going on? I doubt it, because like, especially in the case of Matt Weiss, how do you figure that out? Like, the guy was hacking into computers of co-eds. You don't exactly
Right.
find evidence of that unless you're specifically looking for it. So,
And he had apparently been doing that at the Ravens too.
Okay, yeah.
So I mean, he learned how to hide it somehow. So
apparently, yeah. I don't know. I mean, so I don't blame Harbaugh for it necessarily. We've all been duped by people we thought were one way and turned out to be another. It happens. Just the fact that it happened this much at Michigan, and then the spotlight is on a school like Michigan, and that sucks. So it's probably gonna come out more at a school like Michigan than it will other places. I imagine it happens basically everywhere, but yeah, I mean, with all of that happening, you want to turn the page on the Harbaugh era in totality. And so for Michigan to, move forward and get past this, they just got to make sure it never happens again. And at least they can now say, like, look, Harbaugh is already gone. All of his coaches are now gone. We can start anew. And we've got a brand new program. And we've got, Kyle Whittingham seems like a decent fella. The players are really taking to him. It seems like Michigan's headed in the right direction.
Yeah, I was wondering too, what occurred to me the other day was that Michigan, you know how they've said that Michigan gets all the press. Even when Michigan
Mhm.
does poorly, they still get more press than Michigan State does.
Yeah.
D'Antonio used to complain about with the Big Ten media days because it didn't matter how
Yeah.
well Michigan State was doing and how poorly Michigan was doing. They all wanted to talk to Harbaugh. And he
Yeah.
got so frustrated with that. And now I'm thinking, well, this has kind of come back to bite Michigan in the butt because Michigan is so high profile, because Michigan gets that press, well, they get all of the negative press too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's yeah.
So,
But it
and
just it does just go to show you the notoriety that a school like Michigan has. So, I mean, Ohio State
yeah,
fans, when the 8-5 season occurred and all of them wanted to say, this is you reverting back to what you always were. No. I'm
no,
sorry. 8-5 programs don't get the notoriety that Michigan has.
right. I guess my thought on flushing the Harbaugh from the system, basically, I don't know if I completely agree on that because I know they wanted to say he had a complete lack of institutional control. And certainly we can look at these instances and say, somebody should have been monitoring this. But also, he was focused enough that between the 21 to 23 season, I mean, they only lost what, 3 games, 2 games,
Something
and
like
then win
that.
a national championship. And it wasn't because of what Connor was doing. We know that. That's just silly to think that they were winning because they had everybody's plays. Um, so he had control over something.
Yeah, I mean, he had
And I
control over the
suppose,
team.
yeah, and I guess you have to, I suppose you have to look at it in totality and say, well, yeah, but all of this stuff happened. Like you said, the DUIs, and then Matt Weiss and Alex Ude were in there doing their things, and nobody seemed to know. Well, the FBI knew it, but so
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's sort of a mixed bag, but I mean, I get it. If you got to get rid of everything having to do with that, I think the internal investigation is still going on, and I wonder if that means that flushing the system, doesn't that also mean getting rid of Ward Manuel?
Hey, see, that's a great question, but the problem is that Ward Manuel brought in the new Michigan hockey coach, Dusty May, for basketball,
Yeah,
and Kyle Whittingham for football. So I mean, he's got some really good hires under his belt, despite some really bad hires like Juwan Howard and
yeah,
apparently Sherrone Moore. I mean, I don't know. His whole situation is really a mixed bag at best, or
yeah,
maybe at worst. I don't know. I don't know what to do with Ward Manuel at this point. I mean, that Michigan's quality assurance on the people that it hires is questionable at best under
yeah,
him,
yeah,
but he did hire arguably the most successful basketball coach in the country right now, or the coach of one of the best basketball teams. I don't know how to speak English. Michigan hockey is doing incredibly well, not as good as Western Michigan. We just won the Natty.
nice.
Actually, that was a couple of years ago, but I'm still riding high. And Kyle Whittingham's a really good coach. Yeah, that's a big name coach. Even, I mean, he comes from the Urban Meyer tree of coaches, which,
Yeah,
I mean, if it had to happen, it had to happen. Whatever. So
it's okay. Bo Schembechler came from the Woody Hayes coaching tree, so
there you go.
it is what
Yeah,
it is.
it is. Yeah,
We take these guys from Ohio and other states, and we make them into Michigan people.
we make them better.
Make them better, hopefully.
Yeah.
So all of that to say, Sherrone Moore is facing sentencing on April 14th for all of the stupid things that he did.
I am decently shocked that he's getting away with a lot of this.
I think what
I am.
happens is initially they like throw everything at you,
Oh, okay.
and so the home invasion is there, the threatening is there, I think one of the things they're actually charging. Oh no, one of the things they took off the table was malicious use of a digital device. I think is what they called it. Which I know it sounds funny, but obviously it's a terrible thing. It's cyber stalking,
Yeah.
and that's terrible.
Okay.
And I'm not
Okay.
laughing
Yeah.
at that. I'm laughing at what they
Yeah.
call it, just like they call
What
it,
they call it.
the
Yeah.
entering without breaking.
That's just entering.
He was let in, or he opened the door. I mean,
Yeah.
at any rate, so that's what's going on there.
Yeah.
So we have to wait
It
another month and a week to find out what Sherrone Moore's punishment will be, other than getting
last
fired and being humiliated.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say though, it does say in this ESPN article I'm looking at for it though that Sherrone Moore and his wife Kelly were holding hands in the courtroom.
Yeah.
And and you mentioned that earlier, so I do hope that that means that they're able to reconcile and forgive each other, or at least Sherrone Moore. Who knows what happened there, but
right.
Yeah, I hope they're able to move forward.
Yeah, that would be a good thing if they can find a way to keep the family together, because otherwise you're just destroying more lives.
Yeah.
So, well, on that note, like, comment, and subscribe.
Whose life did you destroy today?
Don't do it. All right, let's talk about something a little bit happier here. Michigan basketball continues to be on a tear. It's crazy. They're now 28-2. They're ranked number 3 nationally, number 1 in the Big Ten after beating Illinois on February 27th. They are 18-1 in the Big Ten. They had a game against Iowa the other night, which appears to have been a tight one. I was kind of keeping track of that one. I saw the scores staying pretty tight through most of the game. It ended up 71-68. Michigan walks away with the win on that one. Next up is the old foe, Michigan State Spartans. That is tomorrow, March 8th. So if you're watching this on Monday, the game has already happened and is over.
That is a fact.
But you're not here for breaking news. That's all I'm saying.
Or news in general.
Yeah. But bringing up the current situation for the team, though, LJ Kaysen, what position is he? I forgot now. Do you remember? You forgot too. He is out with a season-ending injury. Hey, we've said this before. We are just learning about basketball. I know that there's forwards and there's defense. You got your shooters and your guys who can't.
He's a guard.
He's a guard. Okay.
He's a guard.
LJ Kaysen, he is out with a season-ending injury. How big of a loss is he? Is he pivotal to the team?
Is that my lead?
That's my question to you. Yeah. How big of a loss? How big of a loss is this for Michigan?
So according to Bing Copilot, this is a big loss. No, actually, I should say I did a little bit of research on this. Can you believe it?
Excellent.
It's crazy. Yeah, I was listening to. Oh crap! What is that? The
97.1? The ticket?
No, Sam Webb, and they're on WTKA when they do the show. It's the normally 4 guys. One of them was out sick. I can't remember what his name is. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Well, whatever. Sam Webb was there. I know that much. Anyway, they were talking about it, and LJ Kaysen. So losing him sucks. I mean, that is a big blow to the team. He has a season-ending ACL tear. Those suck, as far as I know.
Yeah, those are hurt.
Yeah, what I heard though was that he is their best, he's their top bench scorer and he is their best transition player. So from what I understand it, and again, for people who are wondering, why are these guys talking about basketball? They don't know anything about basketball. Great question. But we're going to do it anyway. From what I understand, what he was bringing to the team was just this identity of fast transition scoring. Okay, so like if Michigan State goes up and shoots the ball, it bounces off the rim, you get a rebound, somebody bolts down the court real fast, and then they get the ball to him. It's scoring in transition. You get those quick strike scores, the kind of thing that happens where the other team's defense isn't able to set up and doesn't really even know what happened, and so you're able to score before you have to put any sort of a tactical strategy together to go after the defense, because the defense just isn't there at that point. That's why those fast break points and transition points, if you can get a lot of those, that's why those are so important, is because at that point then I mean you're basically being given free points. You're basically given a free shot at the hoop. Which I'm, a basketball fan's listening to this and just saying, I hate myself right now. Why am I listening to this? But he was their top bench scorer. So I don't know if that necessarily means he was a starter per se, but he was definitely something that lended itself to Michigan's depth, and Michigan's depth has been one of their strengths this season. So that definitely causes them to take a hit because of that. However, with him out, the point guard duties fall almost solely on Elliot Kudo, maybe. From what I understand, he is very good, but he doesn't necessarily have the ball skills that LJ Kaysen has. So he's not necessarily going to be like, the identity that Michigan runs its offense around. And he's not necessarily going to be the player that, who was I listening to that put it that way? This might have been Steve Dace again. So you remember JJ McCarthy when he was playing at Michigan, and Michigan was at like third and 4, 3rd and 5, even 3rd and long sometimes. And you weren't worried because you just figured, all right, JJ McCarthy is just going to make a play. I don't care. It could be 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. That's fine. JJ's probably just going to scramble and pick up the first down, or he's going to find somebody outside the pocket, whatever. LJ Kaysen was kind of that player. He was kind of the player that could basically fit into any situation and make a play out of nothing. And Elliot Kudo, from what I understand, does not necessarily have that type of ability, but that doesn't mean that he's not a solid player. It just means, from what I understand and how I'm thinking about this, is that Michigan needs to be a little bit more intentional on how it sets up its offensive strategy. Defensively, they're still doing pretty well. They allow 68.7 points a game. I think that's actually pretty good. Offensively, though, against Duke, they only scored the 63 points. That was before LJ Kaysen got injured. Duke's a really good defensive team, so okay, that makes sense. They got back up to 77 against Minnesota, shot up to 84 against Illinois, but then LJ Kaysen goes out, and Michigan falls back down to 71 against Iowa. And that Iowa game was close, too.
Mhm.
So does that tell you? I mean, I'm not entirely sure what that tells you. It was on the road. It was a close game. Is it because LJ Kaysen is out and the team is trying to figure out how to regroup? I'm not entirely sure. I think that question is going to be better answered against Michigan State tomorrow, or yesterday if you're watching this on Monday. But that being said, I mean, literally no one is taking this as, oh, Michigan's done. Their tournament hopes are over. I mean, their tournament hopes aren't over. They're going to be a 1 seed. The question of whether or not they'll make it to the national title, maybe at that point you're like, I would have liked to see more depth to really feel good about a title run. But even still, the team is uber talented and incredibly well coached. And I'm sure that Dusty May spent the entire Iowa game basically trying to feel out how he needed to structure his offense without LJ Kaysen on board. So that's what I'm getting from it. If that is completely wrong, then you can let me know in the comment section, and maybe I'll read your comment on the next show. I don't care. Whatever.
Well, I think regardless, whether you know the sport or not, I mean, certain things are always true on team sports. You have to have depth. If you've got one player who is the key to the whole team and you lose him and the team falls apart, then multiple things. One, the coach was not prepared, the team was not prepared, there's no depth on the bench, and you're not going to progress because everybody is riding on that one player.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the same across the board for any team sport. You have to have depth at every position. And you have to be able to calculate, because you can only have a certain number of players. So you got to be able to calculate which position you need more depth at versus other positions. So if there's nobody to back up LJ Kaysen, then that really brings Dusty May into question, I think.
Well, it does and it doesn't. I mean, I think that, things happen to hurt a team's depth. Injuries happen all the time. I mean, a lot of Michigan football's problem this past season was players kept getting injured and they just didn't have the depth to replace those guys because, I mean, somebody would get injured and then their replacement would get injured. I mean, that happened on the offensive line a couple of times. So I'll kind of give them a little bit of leeway for that. What I will say, though, is that, I mean, you never want to see a player go down with an injury like this. That sucks. He was definitely one of their, better players and helped them win, obviously.
Yeah.
But they still have Yaxel Landenborg. They still have Elliot Kudo. They still have Morez Johnson Jr. These guys are all still playing at a really high level. So for me, from what I understand, is that depth really isn't as much of an issue for them. Obviously, the injury is going to, by nature, take a player off or make him unavailable. So it's going to be a little bit more shallow than it was. And therefore, the offense and the defense need to be reconfigured to account for that.
Mhm.
But I mean, Yaxel Landenborg, he's affectionately referred to as Yax. He's the best or the highest scorer on the team. He's shooting a 50% field goal percentage. I believe Elliot Kudo has been 40% from three, shooting a career best 38.4% from the 3-point line. So, I mean, I think they're fine. I think they're in good hands.
Well, yeah, because the big question now is we've got what the Big Ten tournament starts. Is that next week?
I believe so. Yeah.
Next week. So we got the Big Ten tournament coming up, and then right on the heels of that is obviously March Madness, and that's where everything counts. So
Mhm.
how do you think they look coming into the Big Ten tournament?
I would expect them to win it still. I mean, I guess we'll know more tomorrow, because Michigan State's still having a really good season. I know people were kind of upset with them for a little bit, but I mean, they're still a really strong team. And but the thing is that even with the LJ Kaysen injury, ESPN still has Michigan winning with an 82.6% chance of victory. So, I mean, clearly the general feeling around the sport is that Michigan's really not going to be that negatively impacted as long as they can adjust.
How well, let me ask you this one. How well does Michigan have to do in the Big Ten tournament to be seeded into March Madness?
I don't know. I was actually wondering that myself because I was thinking about it. Like, okay, so if Michigan has the type of regular season that they've had, and then you think about the Big Ten tournament, like they've already won the regular season tournament, the regular season championship. So if they go into the tournament and they lose game one, are they like getting knocked down a few spots because of that? Or does the tournament performance, conference tournament performance, just act as a bonus to help you get, a better seed, if you will?
I gotta believe it's a better seed because there's 64 teams in March
Yeah.
Madness, isn't there?
Well, 68, but you
Yeah.
end up getting 4 of them removed before like week 1 starts.
Yeah. I almost
Yeah.
wonder, and I guess I don't know how the strategy would work, but it's one of those things where I wonder, would Michigan be better off like just losing game 1 of the Big Ten tournament so that they can rest up for March Madness?
I don't know. I mean, I doubt that's what they are thinking at all.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
probably
I mean, do they want to tank for like special positioning in March
Yep.
Madness? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's not how it works at all. That was a dumb thing to say, but whatever.
All right. Well, at any rate, Michigan plays Michigan State tomorrow. And when you watch this Monday, just let us know what the score is in the comments. I mean, I should know,
Yeah.
but let us know. Our next topic, and so this was the big, I don't know, I guess gossipy sort of story. Sherrone Moore is a gossipy sort of story too, but Michigan recruiting is got a boost, is what I want to say. They hired a woman named Skylar Fan as part of the recruiting team. She was a recruiter at both Texas and USC. Fan actually helped secure USC's number 1 group for the 2026 recruiting class. So I guess thank you for that. She's helped one of our biggest opponents get a number 1 class, but now she's at Michigan. And the story the story comes from some guy named TJ Ronan. Do you know who that is?
TJ Ronan,
TJ Ronan, yeah.
TJ Ronan.
Oh, he's at
Nope,
that
never
site,
heard of him.
the mouth of college football?
The
The
arm
speaker of college football.
the butt of college football.
The voice of college football. Don't say but. Now people are gonna think we
yeah.
got a beef with him. We don't. We
Oh
love
no, I don't have anything. No, butts to me are not a negative. So
Right.
I
All
shouldn't
right.
have said that.
TJ
at
Ronan
all.
is a friend. He's
Oh
got a
my
lot
gosh,
of
please don't clip that.
he's got a lot of good information. But at any rate, bringing in Skylar Fan, and I feel bad for women sometimes when this happens. But I'm going to ask you, Mac, what does Skylar Fan bring to Michigan besides, and this was the big story, being attractive, which I want to say under current circumstances is not something Michigan fans should be talking about. You get me? Okay. Aside from that, Mac, I'm sure Skylar Fan is incredible at what she does. What does she bring to Michigan?
Clearly.
What is she going to do for Michigan?
She's gonna really help with recruiting, apparently. Look, I mean, okay, you brought it up. That's the only reason I'm gonna say this and it's not bad. Just chill, we're good. I almost forgot what I was gonna say. Now, what was I gonna say? She's pretty and all that. What exactly were the PR people at Michigan thinking, being like, yeah, let's bring in another attractive assistant to the Michigan program right now? That seems like a great idea. Like, every Michigan fan reading this story is either like, oh, she's cute, or, oh, crap. Again?
Well, now, okay, I just want to clarify, though. I don't think she's an assistant, and I'm not entirely sure how recruiting teams work, but I don't think she's assistant. I think she's an official recruiter.
But
I
think
recruiting is one of those weird things. I don't know how the teams work. I don't know how recruiting teams work, because I don't know if like they're like agents who then contact players, and then when they get a contact with the player, then they bring the coach in.
Oh, I see. Okay, so she was the director of recruiting strategy. Yeah, so she absolutely wasn't an assistant.
Not an
and
assistant. She's high
apologize. I apologize for my misogyny. We don't normally do misogyny on this show, do we? We do racism and sexism, but not misogyny. We don't really do racism or sexism. I don't know that
we should talk about any of this.
Well, do you hear that? I think I just heard our first strike on YouTube.
Dang it.
Anyway, yeah, no, she is the director of recruiting. So she not only played a role in USC's #1 ranked 2026 recruiting class, she basically was the reason for it, because nobody's going to USC for Lincoln Riley. You know that you're not going to USC just because you don't want to play for someone who embodies the physical aura of missed expectations, like, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's really funny. Like, everybody keeps talking about, oh, USC's got the #1 recruiting class in the country. Like, that's great. Congratulations. I'm really happy for them. Lincoln Riley's not going to do crap with that. I'm sorry. I mean, they're going to have a good team for sure, but he might make the playoffs. He's going to lose in the first round. He's going to lose in the first. Everybody knows he's going to lose in the first round. But then you bring a recruiting talent like Skylar Fan to Michigan with the developmental capacity that Kyle Whittingham and the assistant coaches that he's brought on, what they're capable of, put it all together. This is fascinating to me, because she played a role in Texas recruiting. Not played a role. She was high level there too. High level at USC. Texas and USC both have recently had #1 recruiting classes. At least I'm pretty sure Texas did, if not at least top 5. So she is clearly very good at what she does.
Mm-hmm.
Now give her, so she brings the strategy. The recruiters go out and get the players. Okay, give those players to a coach who actually develops. I mean, this is a really, really good sign for Michigan moving forward. And what's really interesting to me too is, and this is why I think it'll be interesting to see how long Kyle Whittingham lasts at Michigan, because yeah, he's on the older side for sure. He's probably in the fourth quarter of his career, if you will. Yeah, whoops. I felt bad about my eulogy for Lou Holtz as well.
Yeah.
So I'm having a great time with old people today, I guess. It's just I'm being a disrespectful jackass. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so he's probably not going to be at Michigan for very long. Who knows? He might be dead soon. I don't. That was a joke about how I'm an idiot. Please don't get offended. I think.
Let me take this opportunity while you're struggling to figure out what to say. As we try to figure out, so we make jokes about not knowing anything about football and basketball, and to some extent that's true. But what I find interesting, and I'm gonna use TJ as an example to justify what we do. Because TJ put in his post that her potential roles are overseeing all official and unofficial visits. So he's guessing. That may or may not be true, which is what we do. We guess about things, and it may or may not be true. And I mean, there's a place for analysis and knowing the X's and O's and all that. And I know a lot of guys who can do that, and it's impressive. It really is. It's really cool how they're able to do that. Justin is really good. Justin over at the Nebraska channel for Voice College Football, really good with the X's and O's and all of that. Fascinating to watch, but also you never know what's going to happen until the game is played. So you could guess and still be right. And I think that's what kind of makes it fun. It's what makes this kind of thing possible, that we can just sort of have fun and joke about it, because everybody's guessing. Some people's guesses maybe are, educated guesses more so than others, but still it's just a guess, and it may not go that way, which is kind of how recruiting works. You gotta take a chance and make a guess that player can be convinced to come to your school. And you shoot your shot and try to get him to the school. But she's going to be potentially, so if TJ is right, though, she's going to potentially be overseeing all official and unofficial visits. So essentially the players get to the school and she shows them around, shows them stuff. The one thing I was wondering, though, too, is have they prepared her for the weather? Because if she is from Texas and USC, Michigan weather is going to be a bit of a shock.
I mean, so if climate change is happening, though, how long until we get palm trees in Michigan? I mean, it might not be that long.
Yeah.
You never know. You really don't know.
Yeah.
No, I think this is a great win. What's interesting about these coaches, and a lot of like Jim Harbaugh's success was attributed to Ben Herbert, I think was his name, the strength and conditioning coach.
Oh yeah.
And, because the players spend a lot more time in some cases with the strength and conditioning coach than they do, the head coach in some cases. And a lot of that winning culture is built in the weight room. Championships, there's a saying, and I say that there's a saying because I heard one guy say it. So obviously there's a saying that means what that means. Championships are won in the weight room. Well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes into a winning football program for sure. First, you have to have an OnlyFans account. Oh, wait, no, don't do that. First, you have to have a good strength and conditioning program and all that, but you also need to know the right players to go after. And so what I think is really interesting is Skylar Fan, with the recruiting chops that she has, and having a developer like Kyle Whittingham, and a guy who I think is pretty good at evaluating talent, like Kyle Whittingham, having them joining forces to create a recruiting strategy. I'm interested in this because I think that recruiting at Michigan, while it's been good, and it's sometimes great, it's rarely ever elite. like Michigan does not really ever finish with top 5 classes.
Mhm.
You know, and I understand every Ohio State fan's in the comments section right now, like, we only ever finish with top 5 classes. You know, I mean, if you don't finish at the top 5 class, then why even play football? You suck. Like, huh. And then I would say, hey, maybe get your front teeth fixed. But, you know, it's true. I don't think Michigan's ever really finished with a top 5 class in the past, you know, few years. And so this is a really great step towards doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everybody out there, let us know what you think. Tell us in the comments. Is Skylar Fan a good fit for Michigan? I guess that's it. That's all I want to ask. Don't comment on how she looks. Just let that go. Do you think she's a good fit for Michigan? Will she be a good and do you agree with TJ? Actually, is she going to be doing official and unofficial visits? Is that going to be her role, or do you suspect that she'll be doing something else? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Got to keep saying that now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Otherwise, people won't know what to do.
That's right. Yeah. What is YouTube for anyway? All right. Let us get into viewer comments, which is, of course, our favorite part of the show. Now, I was gone last week, but Mac did cover you did cover viewer comments last week.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. So we're not really behind on viewer comments. But so this week, our first comment comes from Chuck Cribbs 3398. And this is from the video, is Ryan Day being outclassed by this coach? And that was, we were talking about, oh man, I just lost the name.
Kurt Cignetti?
Kurt Cignetti, wow.
The guy who just won the national championship? Wow.
With Indiana
All right.
for the first time ever. Goodness gracious. So is he being outclassed by Kurt Cignetti? And Chuck Cribbs came back with this. Day is a very good coach, but he relies on talent and his assistant coaches to win games. Cignetti is a way better developer and game manager. Day can barely keep his coaches from leaving every 2 to 3 years. Patricia won't be there 2 years from now. Smith won't be there 2 years from now. Day doesn't develop coaches either. So Mac, Chuck kind of explains it here, but it almost seems, what do you call that when something isn't the way you expect it to be?
Unexpected?
Counterintuitive.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Counterintuitive. He said that Day is a very good coach, but he relies on talent and his assistant coaches to win games. I first read that and I'm like, well, yeah. Isn't that the way it's supposed to work, or is it supposed to be something else?
You know, okay, so a lot of people like to say, and me included, that, you know, the modern college football coach should be like a CEO. Okay, you know, you bring in the right people, and those people are the ones that will win you championships, win you football games, and all that. And, you know, that's fair to a point, but from a leadership standpoint, you know, being a good leader means that you have to serve the people who are actually doing the work to get the job done. Okay, I mean, you're the one putting the culture together. You're the one who, you know, when a decision has to be made, you lead them in that direction and all that. You can't just delegate everything to an assistant coach and say, okay, just go and, you know, win football game for me, please. You know, because there has to be like a unifying culture that everyone buys into. There has to be a unifying vision that everyone buys into. I don't know. I think that Ohio State does have a unified vision, at least one that I think Ryan Day is attempting to put into place. But I mean, Chuck here is absolutely right, and Chuck, you know, has become kind of a friend of ours over the past month or so. So great to see him commenting again. But he's absolutely right. I mean, Ohio State has assistants leave like actually pretty much every year now at this point. Brian Hartline's gone. He was the OC for a couple of years. I mean, he's been at Ohio State for a while now, but in various different positions. But as soon as he became OC, I mean, he was having some trouble at OC, I'll even say. But he's gone now. Matt Patricia, yeah, I kind of expect him to be gone in a couple of years too, as soon as a head coaching job opens up. And I'm curious to see how, the coaches that when they leave Ohio State, how they do, because I don't think that they're really learning a whole lot from Ryan Day. He says that Day doesn't develop coaches or anything like that. He certainly doesn't like Nick Saban would. So I think he's right there. But yeah, I think that Ohio State does have that unified vision, but it also doesn't really matter because the caliber of player that they bring in is going to basically always be good enough to win them 10 or 11 games. And obviously last season they won 12, didn't they? Didn't they go 12-0?
Yeah.
Gosh, I can't remember, and that was only a couple
Yeah,
months
the only
ago.
2 games they lost were the Big Ten championship and their playoff game.
Yeah, and I said at the time when those happened too, I think it was more because the offensive line just didn't have a defensive line to go up against all season long that would have prepared them for Indiana or Miami's. I think that's what happened there. And you could say like, oh, that's on Ryan Day for not preparing his offensive line. Yeah, sure. But I mean, if your own defensive line maybe isn't as good as you want it to be, then you're not going to have anything to prepare your offensive line. Yeah, that's on Ryan Day, but also sometimes the other team is just better. You don't fire Ryan Day because of this result, because of what happened in 2025. You just don't.
Yeah. Well, that's so it seems to me. So Chuck's last line here: Day doesn't develop coaches either. I guess I would have to disagree with that because I think that the reason the coaches leave is because they did develop and other teams wanted them.
I don't know. The example I'm thinking of off the top of my head is Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly was already a proven commodity as an offensive coordinator, and that's why Ryan Day wanted him at Ohio State, and then he left after one season.
Right.
So, I don't know. I mean, I don't think you necessarily look at anybody coming from the Ryan Day coaching tree and be like, yeah, that's the guy. That guy's going to be a head coach when he grows up. Like, I'm not looking at any, like even Brian Hartline. I think Brian Hartline was always destined to be a head coach at some point, but I never thought he was like, oh, somebody's going to get their guy and that guy is Brian Hartline. Like, I don't think that's the case.
I wonder though, like with Matt Patricia, I mean, who would pick him up? I know he just signed an extension.
Yeah.
At Ohio State. And I wonder, given the troubles he had in the NFL, in particular Detroit, would anybody really pick him up as a head coach for a college team, or is he destined to be a DC for the rest of his career?
I don't know. I mean, his defenses are really good,
Yeah.
apparently. So why not? I mean,
yeah, there's no shame in that for sure.
Yeah, no, it could be another situation where he's just a really good college coach and college tactician and not, I mean, actually, I think he was a good coordinator for the New England Patriots too. I don't think he was necessarily bad there. I think that he just wasn't head coach material.
All right.
Yeah.
The next,
actually, before you go off of Chuck Cribb here, the actual last line of his comment, I think it got cut off here, is Indiana is the king of the Big Ten now. They will be 12-0 again. I love that sentence is a thing. I love that exists. I love everything about it. I want to get that printed out and framed, and it's going on my wall right here. I just love it.
The funny thing is, and I don't mind either.
Yeah, not at all.
As much as I want Michigan to get, back into it.
Yeah.
If Indiana has to take it, take it. Better than Ohio State or Michigan State. So
you can have it for a few years, and then when Kurt Cignetti retires, we'll get whoever's after Kyle Whittingham, and we'll take it back over, and it'll be great.
There we go. All right, our next comment comes from Nate Brunner, E4M. I don't know what that means, but it's part of his name. He said, this narrative that this comment comes from former Michigan player praises Bryce Underwood, but the comment is actually about Pat Fitzgerald because we talked about Pat Fitzgerald in that video. This narrative that Pat Fitzgerald is, quote, a good coach needs to stop. He has never been good. He coached in the worst division in the history of major college sports, the Big Ten West. Sparty is going to regret not sticking with Smith, especially when Fitzgerald's low character eventually shows through. Oh. There's no way he didn't know about the abuses happening at Northwestern. Not a chance. Okay, Pat Fitzgerald, is he a good coach or not? Do we agree with Nate?
I mean, I think he's a good coach. That's why I said that I think he's a good coach.
All right.
All right. So I guess I'll touch on the abuse part first. Actually, that was a horrible way of putting it. I'll touch on the abuse. Gosh, I'll talk about the abuse thing for a second here. I can't remember off the top of my head what happened. I know there were some hazing incidences and stuff like that.
Hazing, yeah.
Yeah, at one point, even I thought, like, how does that happen? And the head coach doesn't know. But at the same time, what if the head coach is at home and this stuff was happening in the locker room? How is he going to know?
Right.
How would he know at that point? I believe either Northwestern or somebody just came out and said, admitted that Pat Fitzgerald actually did not know what was going on, and that Pat Fitzgerald was basically found, I mean, he wasn't on trial, but not guilty, for lack of a better word, of knowing anything that was going on, and shouldn't have been fired. And frankly, he should probably sue Northwestern for a lot of money. That's the last I've heard of that case. So I'm just going to put that right there. I'm not going to, if that's not right, then, I'll mention that at some point, but whatever. As far as Sparty regretting not sticking with Jonathan Smith, it's funny because when Jonathan Smith was hired at Michigan State, I think basically every Michigan fan went, "Oh, yeah, that's a good hire."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a little surprised that it didn't work out. And this is why I brought up, and somebody yelled at me in the comment section for this, saying I was wrong. But this is why I brought up administrative issues at Michigan State, was because from what I understand, there are some issues with the administration at Michigan State that are causing that program to not reach its full potential like it did under Mark D'Antonio. I don't know what those are, but I think the athletic director was fired just like a year or two ago. So, I mean, something's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Also, yes, Northwestern was in the Big Ten West, the infamous Big Ten West, the suckiest division in conference history. And, I get it. Yeah, it was a terrible division. It always sucked. The Big Ten East always steamrolled whoever was from the West in the Big Ten championship game. But here's the thing. He still made it twice.
Yeah.
So, like, even though the conference sucked, or the division sucked, at least he made it.
Yeah.
So he wasn't as sucky as the other sucky teams. As far as his, suck level went, he was, not that bad. So
I found an article on it, and it says a former Northwestern University football player accused former coach Pat Fitzgerald and the school Tuesday of tolerating hazing, alleging rituals involving a naked human car wash and a punishment called Shrek claps. I don't know what either of those are.
Well, I know what a naked car wash is, and normally it doesn't involve the
it says a
football
naked
team.
human quote unquote car wash. So I don't know exactly what they're getting at there. I mean, I can guess.
Oh,
But
gross. Okay, no, I think I get it.
at any rate, the civil action suit said that Northwestern's football program, quote, has had a long-standing issue involving hazing and bullying. So this was going on for a while. So Nate saying that there's no way he didn't know sounds reasonable. But I think he did get exonerated of that. So
yeah,
I don't know. And then, of course, you bring it back to the quote that was used against Harbaugh, that from Bo Schembechler, that a coach that doesn't know what's going on in his program doesn't deserve to be a head coach.
I get why Bo said that, but I mean, in today's game, I don't know, man.
It's difficult to know everything that's going on. It's just too big.
Yeah.
But our next comment is a short one, but a valid one. This comes from P. McCord, and this was on the video, Can Urban Meyer and Donald Trump save college football? And Mac, you made a comment apparently about it being the Wild West, and he says it's not the Wild West, it's neo-feudalism.
Yeah.
And I
So
should have looked up. I know I remember feudalism is basically you had feudal lords, so you had wealthy landowners and the poor. And I think that's what he's getting at here because you have rich teams and you have poor teams, and the rich teams are going to control everything.
yeah.
But
So, according to Bing Copilot here, neo feudalism is the idea that modern society is starting to look like a new version of medieval feudalism where a small elite controls most of the power and resources. Everyone else has limited mobility or influence. The lords set the rules, and the serfs live within them. And
yeah,
then legal protections and opportunities aren't equal. That's what that means.
yeah.
Yeah.
So college football with NIL is currently in a state of neo feudalism. Do you agree with that?
So,
Or
like,
is it
kind
just
of
the wild, wild west?
I think it's the wild wild west. I think it is, Um honestly, like I don't think that it's actually neo-feudalism right now. I mean, maybe it'll turn into that, but like think about it. Indiana just won the national championship. Like,
Because they invested a ton of money.
but they sucked before.
Well, okay, so the difference here would then be that in medieval feudalism, your landlords and your wealthy were generationally wealthy.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they could just somebody if they just found a bunch of money could become a landowner landlord. So that's the difference now though is that you could just out of the blue like Mr. Beast wants to do or Mark Cuban did for Indiana is just infuse them with a bunch of cash and now they're the kings because they just got all the cash.
Yeah, but there are so many wealthy alumni from so many different schools. I mean, that one guy just gave Michigan State $400 million.
Well, sure, it could pop up all over the place. But think about like I don't know, pick you were talking earlier North Texas. I mean, is North Texas going to
Mhm.
get that? Although I don't even know if
I
they're
don't know.
FBS. Are they FBS?
I think
They
they
might be.
are. Yeah, they are.
Okay.
But, I mean, okay, so North Texas. I mean, somebody's gotta be an oil tycoon down there who went to North Texas and wants them to do well. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a Western Michigan alum. They named the business school after him, and I can't remember Hayworth, maybe? No, that's a business that's out there. Whatever. Anyway, he's a billionaire. I mean, any day now, he could just be like, what would be really cool is if Western Michigan won a national championship. How much money would it cost to do that? I don't know. Apparently, about $20 million is all it takes, because I think that's what Indiana spent. So if that's all it takes, and
Yeah.
he's a billionaire, I mean, watch out. Broncos are on top for like the next decade. Then.
I suppose. Yeah. I can see his point
Mhm.
though, the neo feudalism. I think there's something to that.
I
But
would agree. I would agree if like Alabama were still the kings of college football and just getting better and better.
yeah.
I mean, because again, like look at the SEC. As soon as NIL becomes legal, the SEC loses every national championship since. Actually, that's not true. Alabama won in 2020, I think it was. But like
Mm.
2021 was Georgia. 2022 was also Georgia.
Right. Yeah. 20 and yeah,
My
then
my
23
my
was
point is
Michigan.
falling apart quick. 2023 was Michigan. 2024 was Ohio State.
Yeah.
2025 is Indiana. So
Yep.
it took a couple of years, but now that the Big Ten has caught up, they've got 3 in a row, and Indiana's
Yeah.
one of them. Like that's insane.
Yeah. I think he can make the case for the neo feudalism that it's they're gonna the wealthy are gonna pop up here and there. They're not gonna be able to maintain it because Mark Cuban isn't going to be there to say, "Oh, here I'll give you $1 billion every year." He's not going to do that. So at
Well, it
some
doesn't
point,
cost $1 billion.
well, whatever it costs, the money is going to run out, and then somebody else will have a lot of
Ah,
money, and then that money will run out, and then somebody else will have a lot of money. So
okay,
it's
so I
almost
mean,
like a
maybe.
wild, wild west neo feudalism.
There you go. Yeah, it's a mix between the two, somewhere in between Wild Wild West
Yeah.
and neo feudalism.
Yep. Thank you, PMcCord9 for your comment. Thank you, Nate Brunner, for your comment. Thank you, Chuck Cribbs, for your comment. Really appreciate all of those. Thank you for everybody hanging out with us and keep those comments coming. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I really appreciate you guys being out there. We have a lot of fun doing this. We have a lot of fun reading those comments. So keep sending them in, and we will keep talking about them. And I think that is going to do it for our show tonight. Except for, I want to say, so don't forget, the Big Ten tournament is coming up. And then right after that, the March Madness. And then in April, right after March Madness is over, we're going to start having spring games. Michigan's spring game is April 18th. And we will be here for you, for all of that, giving you our nonsense, because we are a nonsense channel.
Yeah. No, that's a good summary right there. We're not.
We like to have fun with it. So if you can't have fun talking sports, what's the point?
You know, they say lean into what you know, and if you don't know anything, lean into it.
Lean into it. Yeah. That makes sense.
Real quick before we go, I just want to take this opportunity to congratulate Ohio State once more on their season. I found it in here, and it's here if you need it. So,
and that's going to do it for us. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for being on Team Rivalry. Mac, take us out.
This is the I never thought I would use my trash can as a prop show.
Oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense though.
Right? Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to throw things away.